Hello students, this is Yosomi ma'am from Learnify Brainloom. So today we will start a new chapter, chapter 1 from your Kaveri class 9 textbook. So this story is written by Sudha Murthy. She has she has narrated an incident from her childhood. So when I was a girl of about 12, I used to stay in a village in North Karnataka with her grandparents. She used to stay in a village in North Karnataka. In those days, the transport system was not very good, the communication network was not very good. So they used to get the morning paper only in the afternoon. The weekly magazine used to come one day late. All of us would wait eagerly for the bus which used to come with the papers, weekly magazines, and the post. Now, at that time, Triveni was a very popular writer in the Kannada language. She was a wonderful writer. Her style was easy to read and very convincing. So, people used to read stories written by the writer. Her stories usually dealt with complex psychological problems in the lives of ordinary people and were always very interesting. Unfortunately for Kannada literature, she died very young. Even now, after 40 years, people continue to appreciate her novels. One of her novels, called Kashi Yatra, was appearing as a serial in a Kannada Karmavira then. It is a story of an old lady and her keen desire to go to Kashi or Varanasi. Most Hindus believe that going to Kashi and worshipping Lord Vishweshwara is the ultimate punya. This old lady also believed in this, and a struggle to go there was described in that novel. In the story, there was also another character, a young orphan girl who falls in love, but there was no money for the wedding. So, what happened? The old lady in the inn gives away all her savings without going to Kashi, and she says the happiness of this orphan girl is more important than worshipping Lord Visheshwara at Kashi. Now, her grandmother, Krishna Takka, never went to school, so she could not read. So, every Wednesday, what happened? The magazine would come and she would read the next episode of the story to her. During that time, she would forget, the grandmother forget all her work, all her household chores and everything, and listen to the story with greatest concentration. And later she could repeat the entire story by heart. Now the grandmother too never went to Kashi, but she always identified herself with the novel's main character, that is the novel's protagonist. So more than anybody else, she was the one most interested to know what will happen next in the story. After hearing what was happened next in the story, she would again join her friends at the temple courtyard where the children would also gather to play hide and seek. Now, the narrator at that point of time was very young and she would always thought that what important things are there in the story about to discuss, about to debate so much among the old ladies. One day, what happened? She went for a wedding with her cousins to the neighboring village. In those days, wedding was obviously great event. I don't think nowadays wedding was a great event or not. Obviously, still wedding, any festivals or any weddings, whenever we go to any wedding places, we always enjoy a great lot of enjoyment are there in the wedding. So the children enjoyed themselves thoroughly. They could eat and play endlessly, savoring the freedom because all the elders were busy. She also went for a couple of days but ended up staying there for a week. When she came back to her village, she saw her grandmother in tears. She was surprised because she has never seen grandmother cry. She was always a happy person, always smiling. So she was worried and asked, Ava, is everything all right? Are you okay? She used to call her Ava, which means mother in the Kannada spoken in the North Karnataka. She nodded but did not reply. The writer didn't understand and forget about it. In the night after dinner, they were sleeping in the open terrace of their house. It was a summer night and there was a full moon. Now the grandmother came and sat next to her, touching her forehead affectionately. Now the narrator realized that maybe the grandmother now wished to speak something about the matter. So she asked about what happened. Now, the grandmother started narrating the story of her life. When I was a young girl, I lost my mother, so she lost her mother, and there was nobody to look after her or guide her. Her father was also very busy and got married again. In those days, people never considered education essential for the girls, so she never went to school. She got married at very young age, she had children, she had grandchildren, and she became very busy in taking care of each of them. She felt so much happiness in cooking and feeding all of them. But often she regret about not going to school, so she decided that she made sure that all her children and her grandchildren should study, should go to school. Now, in the second half of the story, she couldn't understand. The narrator could not understand why her 62-old grandmother was telling her so much stories about her life. She was mainly a 12-year-old girl, and the story of her life in the middle of the night, she was feeling very confused. But she knew that she loved her extremely, and there had to be some reason why grandmother was talking to her like that. She looked at her face. She was very unhappy. Her eyes were filled with tears. She was a good looking lady who's usually always smiling. Even today, she cannot forget the worried expression of the face of her grandmother. So she asked her grandmother not to cry and asked for any help. Now the grandmother replied that she'd need her help. You know, when you were away, Karmavira came as usual. I opened the magazine. I saw the picture that accompanies the story of Kashi Yatra, and I could not understand anything that was written. Since she was illiterate, she could not understand anything that was written about the story. Many a times, what did she did? She rubbed her hands over the pages, wishing they could not understand what was written, but it was not possible at all. If only she was educated enough, she waited eagerly for her to return. She sometimes felt that she could come early and wait for her, even thought of going to the village and asking for her to read. She even could not have asked somebody else in the village, but it was too embarrassing for her. She felt very dependent and helpless. Though they were well off, but what is the use of the money when she cannot be independent? The little girl just listened to her grandmother's word, but she couldn't understand anything. She, she again the grandmother continued to tell her the story that she had decided to learn the Kannada alphabet from tomorrow onwards. She will work very hard. She will keep Saraswati Puja during Dasara as the deadline. That day she would be able to read a novel of her own. She wanted to become independent. She saw the determination on her face, but she also got confused, got very happy, or rather got very confused at the Ava at this age of 62 years. She wants to learn something at this age. Anybody, if there is always not a possibility of anyone to learn something, because she has the gray hair, her hands are wrinkled, she was spectacles and the work so much in the kitchen. She was a child at that point of time, the narrator, so childishly she made fun of the old lady, but she just smiled. For a good cause, if you are determined, you can overcome any obstacle. I want to work harder than anybody, but I will do it. For learning, there is no age bar. These words moved the granddaughter, and the next onward, she started giving her tuition. Ava was a wonderful student. The amount of homework she did was amazing. She could read, repeat, write, and recite. I was her only teacher, and she was my first student. Little did I know then that one day I'd become a teacher in computer science and teach hundreds of students. As you all know, Sudha Mukti is now a computer science teacher and teaches hundreds of students across the world. But her first student was her grandmother, her Ava. Now the day came, the Dasara festival came as usual. Secretly, the narrator bought Kashi Yatra, which had been published as a novel by that time. Her grandmother called her to the puja place and made her sit down on a stool. She gave her a gift of frock material and did something that made the writer surprised and taken aback. Elders never touch the feet of youngsters, but she did. She bent down and touched the feet of her granddaughter. We have always touched the feet of God, elders, teachers. We consider that as a mark of respect. But that day, some reverse thing happened. It was not correct according to her. But the grandmother said something. She said, I am touching the feet of a teacher, not my granddaughter, a teacher who taught me so well, with so much affection, that can read any novel confidently in such a short period. Now I am independent. It is my duty to respect the teacher. As already we know, it is written in our ancient scriptures, we should respect our teachers. We could touch the feet of our teachers, irrespective of the gender and the age. Now the granddaughter gave the gift to her first student. She opened it, read immediately the title Kashi Yatra by Triveni and the publisher's name. And at that point of time, the narrator Sudha Murthy knew that her first student, her grandmother, had passed away with flying colors. From this story, what have we learned? We have learned that education has no age limit. There is no particular age for learning or gaining knowledge. Now students, that's all for today's video. We'll get back to you with some critical questions and answer of this chapter. Till now, keep learning. Like, share and subscribe. Thank you.